My girlfriend confessed, "You're not the ideal father." When I found out she was pregnant with her ex, everyone advised me to accept it. I just smiled and sent 2 boxes of newborn diapers to her ex's house, the recipient being his wife. The next morning, my phone had 88 missed calls. "You're not the ideal father." That's what my girlfriend told me when I asked if the baby she was carrying was mine. I stared at her. 3 years together, and that's what I got. She couldn't even look at me. Her eyes stayed on the floor, hands shaking a little. I asked again, quieter this time, "So, it's not mine?" She didn't look up. The room went quiet. She finally said, "I'm sorry. It just happened. You're a good guy, Alex, but you're not the kind of father I pictured for my child." I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there feeling something inside me shut off. The next morning I stared at my phone. 88 missed calls, dozens of unread messages, her name lighting up the screen again and again. When I first met Lena, I honestly thought she was the person I'd spend the rest of my life with. We met at a friend's birthday dinner. She worked at a bank. She was calm and steady. She brought me dinner when I worked late. For 3 years I thought we were fine. I wanted to marry her. She always brushed it off when I mentioned it. Said she wasn't ready, wanted to focus on her career first. I respected that. I thought we had time. About 6 months ago I had to travel for work. A 2-month project out of town. I told her I didn't want to go, but she said, "It's fine, Alex, it's just 2 months. We'll be okay." At first she texted and called. Then replies got short. "Always busy." When I called, she'd answer with her camera off, say she was tired or already in bed. I tried not to overthink it. I told myself she was just stressed. When I came back, she looked different. Not in a bad way, just softer somehow. I thought maybe she'd gained a little weight. About a month after I got back, she started throwing up. The doctor said she was 7 weeks along, which didn't add up. I thought life was finally working out. I hugged her and said, "We're going to be parents," but she didn't smile. Not really. It was this forced, half-hearted expression, like she wanted to say something but couldn't. The next few days were weird. I tried to talk about baby names, the house, marriage plans. She kept changing the subject. At night, she'd scroll through her phone and quickly turn it over when I walked in. One time she was cooking and suddenly started crying. I asked what was wrong, but she just said, "Nothing, hormones, I should have seen it." But I didn't want to know. Then came the moment that changed everything. We were having dinner, a simple meal, takeout pasta. I casually asked, "So when do you want to tell your parents about the baby?" She froze. Then she said, "We need to talk." Her voice was flat, detached. And then came that line, "You're not the ideal father." At first I thought she was joking, maybe teasing me for being overprotective. But when she wouldn't look up, I knew. When I pressed her, she said she wasn't sure who the father was. That she'd met someone when I was away for work. My mind went blank. It was her ex, Mark. The ex she once promised was out of her life for good. They'd bumped into each other, had coffee a few times, and then it happened. I didn't even know what to say. Part of me wanted to scream. The other part just wanted to disappear. I drove around for hours that night. No music, no destination. Just the road and my thoughts. When I finally went home, she was still there, sitting on the couch, crying. She said she didn't plan for it, that she was confused, that she still loved me. She said I could choose to stay and raise the baby. It wouldn't matter whose it was. I just stared at her, wondering if she really believed that. But it did matter, because from that moment on, every time I looked at her, I saw betrayal. Every "I love you" from before suddenly felt fake. And yet, deep down, I still wanted to understand why. That's when she said it again, the thing that hurt more than the cheating itself. "Alex, you're a great guy, but you're not the kind of father I imagine for my child. You're steady, but with Mark I stopped thinking," I laughed. So stability made me not ideal. That night, something inside me shut down completely, and that's where the real story started. Lena tried to act normal the next morning. She made coffee, asked if I wanted breakfast, but I couldn't even look at her. I just grabbed my keys and left for work. My head was pounding. Every time I thought about her words, "You're not the ideal father," it replayed like a broken record. For a few days, I avoided home. I'd work late, sleep in my car, pretend to be busy. I didn't tell anyone at first. I didn't want to admit that the woman I loved had cheated on me while carrying someone else's child. But secrets have a way of eating you alive. One night, I finally told my best friend, Nate. We'd known each other since college. He was the one who introduced me to Lena, actually. When I told him what happened, he just stared at me, speechless. Then he said, "Man, that's rough. But maybe it's not too late. If you love her, maybe you can work through it." I almost laughed. Work through what? Raising another man's kid? He sighed. People make mistakes. Alex, maybe she's just scared. That was the beginning of what would become the most frustrating part of all this. Everyone around me started giving advice like they were experts in forgiveness. A few days later, Lena's mother called me. I didn't even know how she found out. She spoke softly, like she was comforting a child. "Alex, dear, I heard you two had a fight. I know my daughter made a mistake, but please think carefully before you throw everything away. She needs support right now. The baby needs a father," I said quietly. "That baby already has one." There was a long pause. Then she said, "You've always been the responsible one. Don't let pride destroy your future family." Future family. That hit me hard. Everyone kept talking about forgiveness, family, second chances. No one seemed to care that I was the one betrayed. At work, I couldn't focus. Every time I pictured them together, I felt sick. One night, I finally went home. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling her phone, crying quietly. "Alex," she said, "please talk to me." I didn't, I just sat across from her. After a long silence, I said, "Do you even know if it's his?" She hesitated. "I don't. Not yet." That's when I realized she hadn't even bothered to find out. She was just hoping I'd stay anyway. I asked, "When were you going to tell me?" She wiped her face. "I didn't know how. I thought maybe you'd forgive me if you knew I still loved you." I let out a bitter laugh. "You thought I'd be okay raising another man's child?" She flinched. "Alex, please, I made a mistake, but it doesn't have to end like this." But to me, it already had. For the next week, she tried to make things right. She sent long messages, cooked dinner, left notes saying, "I love you." I couldn't bring myself to respond. Every time she touched me, I felt sick. One evening, a message popped up from an unknown number. "This is Mark, we need to talk." I blocked him without replying. After that, I told Lena to move out. She said she needed a week to find a place. I agreed. We barely spoke. That weekend, my parents invited me over for dinner. I didn't plan to tell them, but my mother noticed right away something was wrong. When I finally told them the truth, my dad slammed his fork down and said, "You're leaving her, right?" But my mom frowned and said softly, "Son, don't make decisions in anger. You've built something together. Maybe it's worth saving, worth saving." Here's funny. People talk about forgiveness like it's easy, but they're never the ones who have to live with it. That night I couldn't sleep. I went through Lena's phone while she was in the shower, something I'd never done before. There they were, dozens of messages from Mark. "Have you told him yet? Don't stress too much. I'll handle it if he finds out. Can't stop thinking about that night, and the one that made my blood boil. Imagine how he'd react if he knew the baby was mine." That was it. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I took screenshots and kept them. For days, anger came in waves. Everyone said, "Be the bigger person." But being bigger doesn't mean being a fool. I didn't want revenge, just for them to feel what I did. Then one evening, while I was shopping for groceries, I passed through the baby aisle. I saw shelves full of diapers, baby bottles, pacifiers. I saw newborn diapers and smiled. The idea came to me. I didn't need to argue or explain. Just one quiet move. So I went home, sat down at my laptop, and ordered 2 boxes of premium newborn diapers online. On the delivery note, I wrote, "Congratulations, Grace and Mark." Lena had told me before that Mark's life was complicated, that he was trying to fix things. Turns out, what he was fixing was a double life. I found his address easily. His company website listed it, and his wife had once tagged a photo at that same house. The diapers were set to arrive on a Saturday morning. Meanwhile, Lena thought I was finally calming down. I acted normal, cooked dinner, asked about her doctor's appointments, even offered to drive her. She seemed relieved, maybe even hopeful. But I wasn't forgiving her. I was waiting Friday night. She fell asleep early. I checked her phone again. She'd been messaging Mark. He's quiet lately. I think he's going to forgive me. Good, Mark replied. Once things settle down, we'll figure it out. I stared at the screen for a long time before deleting the messages. Saturday morning came. Lena was out visiting her mom. I spent the day cleaning, doing laundry. Normal things. Around 4 p.m., I got a call from Nate. He sounded tense. Bro, have you seen Facebook? No, why? Grace, Mark's wife, just posted something. Screenshots of their messages are everywhere in their circle. My chest tightened. Wait, how? She found out this morning. Someone sent her a package. 2 boxes of diapers with a card saying congratulations. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Not a happy laugh, more like disbelief mixed with relief. Apparently, Grace opened the package, confronted Mark, and when he tried to lie, she went through his phone. The truth came out in the worst way possible, right there in their kitchen in front of their kids. By that evening, most of their friends knew. Lena came home, pale and shaking. She looked at me and said, "Did you do something?" I didn't answer. I just looked at her. Her phone kept buzzing non-stop. Texts, calls, notifications. She checked it once, then threw it on the couch and covered her face. "Grace knows," she whispered. "Good," I said. Her voice broke. "You don't understand." Mark's wife called my mom. "Everyone knows. My boss knows." I could lose my job. I leaned back in the chair and said quietly, "Then maybe you should have thought about that before sleeping with a married man." She started crying harder. "You're cruel." I looked at her, dead calm. "No, I'm done." That night I turned my phone off and lay awake for hours, not angry anymore, just empty. The next morning my phone showed 88 missed calls, mostly from her and unknown numbers. Nate texted, "Grace found out." She checked his phone. Lena texted me again and again, "Alex, please, can we talk? You've ruined my life. I never wanted to hurt you. I'm sorry, please." I didn't respond. I went to work as usual, had coffee, finished a report. It wasn't peace exactly, just quiet. And that was enough. I didn't need revenge. The truth exposed her. As I looked at my silent phone lighting up with her name one last time, I thought about the moment this all began. That dinner, her words. That one sentence, "You're not the ideal father." Maybe she was right. I wouldn't want a kid growing up surrounded by lies anyway. The next few days were chaos. Not for me, but for her. Lena kept calling, texting, trying to explain, but I didn't answer. Friends started messaging me too, saying they'd seen screenshots online asking if it was real. I didn't reply to any of them. By the 3rd day, her number was blocked. Nate told me Grace had gone nuclear. She uploaded everything, messages, photos, even a picture of the diaper boxes with the card. The post made the rounds in their circles. Word spread at his workplace. Someone forwarded the screenshots to HR, and he was put on leave pending review. As for Lena, her boss at the bank quietly suggested she take a leave of absence. She went offline for a week, then came back with an apology post about making mistakes and learning from them. The comments were brutal. When she finally reached me through a new number, I picked up. "Alex, please," she said, her voice shaking. "I never wanted this. I know I hurt you, but you didn't have to destroy me." I said quietly, "I didn't destroy you, Lena. I just sent a package." "You knew what would happen," she shouted. "Yeah," I said. "That's why I did it." There was a long silence before she said, "You've changed." "No," I said. "I just stopped pretending love solves everything." She started crying again, saying she'd lost everything. Her job, her reputation. She said her doctor was worried about stress affecting the pregnancy. I didn't say anything. I just sat there staring out the window. After a long pause, she whispered, "I'm sorry, Alex." I said, "I know." And then I hung up. That was the last time I ever spoke to her. I moved out of the apartment a week later into a smaller place closer to work. It felt strange at first, quiet, empty, but peaceful. I started running in the mornings, eating better, talking to my parents more. Slowly, I stopped checking her profile. A month later, Nate texted me again. "She's gone, moved to another city." I stared at the message for a moment, then turned my phone off. Sometimes people think revenge means screaming or breaking things, but for me it was silence, letting the truth speak louder than anger ever could. Half a year later, I met Claire, calm, kind. One night she asked if I wanted kids. "Someday with the right person," I said. For once, that didn't scare me. I used to think betrayal was the end of everything, that once trust was broken, you could never rebuild anything real. But maybe sometimes endings are just the clean break you need to start again. Still, every now and then, when my phone buzzes late at night, I think about that one moment. That one sentence that started it all. You're not the ideal father, but at least now I'm okay. That's enough.